In this video we're going to look at dividing polynomials or dividing algebraic expressions, and in the first one we're going to divide just by a single x or a monomial, and this one's fairly straightforward. And to save a bit of writing, if I can, instead of writing divide with a divide sign, if I put in a vinculum and put it over x, do it that way, and then each of the terms in the numerator can be divided by x. So x cubed divided by x is x squared. 2x squared divided by x becomes 2x. 5x divided by x becomes 5. And the last one is the worst one to do, because you end up with a denominator, so it's 9 divided by x is 9 over x. There is an alternative to that, depending on the context of how you're doing the question. You could write this as 9x to the negative 1 because of it being in the denominator and bringing it up to the numerator. Now this one's a little bit more difficult, and I'd suggest that you closely look at how you divide by long division with just numbers, and make sure that you can master that, and then this becomes a fair bit easier. So in this question, x squared plus 5x plus 6 is going to be divided by x plus 1. So to begin with, we need to think what times x will give x squared, and that would be x. So the part that comes underneath then is what x times x plus 1 equals. So x times x is x squared, x times 1 is x. And like the process for long division, that gets subtracted. So x squared take x squared is 0. Now that's what we were aiming for. If that doesn't happen, that means you've gone off on the wrong track. And now 5x take away x is 4x. And bring down the next digit, which is plus 6. Now, likewise, what times x gives 4x? And we know that's 4. So 4 times x is 4x, and 4 times 1 is 4. And that can be subtracted. 4x take 4x is 0, that's what we wanted. 6 take away 4 is 2. There's no more terms to bring down, so the 2 is a remainder. So what we could do is then write our remainder as 2 over x plus 1. Now this one's a little bit more complex, but the solution turns out to be more meaningful and more constructive. So this time we've got 2x cubed plus x squared minus 13x plus 6 being divided by x minus 2. So first up, what times x gives 2x cubed? Well, that's got to be 2x squared. So multiply this whole term by 2x squared. So 2x squared times x is 2x cubed. 2x squared times minus 2 is minus 4x squared. And we need to subtract. So our 2x cubes disappear, and we've got x squared take away negative 4x squared, which makes plus 4x squared, which is 5x squared altogether. Bring down the next term is minus 13x. What times x gives 5x squared? And that's got to be plus 5x. So multiplying out both terms, 5x times x is 5x squared, and 5x times by minus 2 is minus 10x. Subtracting, 5x squared take 5x squared is 0, that's good news. Minus 13x take away negative 10x makes an addition, which is minus 3x. bring down the next term, which is plus 6. I'm going to need to put this up over here because of this video screen is just too small. So this time, y times x gives minus 3x, and it's minus 3. So minus 3 times x is minus 3x. Minus 3 times minus 2 is plus 6. They get subtracted, and the minus 3x minus minus 3x cancels out to 0, and 6 take away 6 is 0. So in other words, there's no remainder. So what we can say is that this is equal to 2x squared plus 5x take away 3. And just like with numbers, if you divide by a number and you get a 0 remainder, then that means that x minus 2 was a factor of this initial polynomial.